Hey everyone, welcome back to Fluent English Pod, the podcast where we explore the beauty of English language, communication, and everything in between. I'm your favorite host, Dave, and together let's welcome our new host, Stella.
Hey, I'm Stella. Today, we're diving into a topic that's close to our hearts, embracing your English accent with pride. Whether you're from Mumbai, Madrid, or Montreal, your accent is a part of your story.
Absolutely, Stella. So many people feel self-conscious about their accents, especially when speaking English. But here's the thing, your accent is not a flaw, it's a feature.
Couldn't agree more. Let's break this down and give our listeners some food for thought and maybe a confidence boost too. Food for thought is an idiom meaning something that provides mental stimulation or offers an interesting idea or perspective that makes you think deeply.
Let's start with the big question. Why do so many people feel embarrassed about their accents?
I think it's because we're often told there's a right way to speak English. You know, the so-called standard accent, like British RP, received pronunciation, or General American. These accents are often held up as the ideal, especially in media, education, and in even job interviews. But here's the truth. English is a global language, and it's spoken in countless ways. In fact, there are over 1.5 billion English speakers worldwide, and only about 360 million of them are native speakers. That means the majority of English speakers are non-native, and they bring their own unique flavors to the language.
Exactly. And let's not forget, even native English speakers have wildly different accents. Think about how different someone from Texas sounds compared to someone from Scotland or Australia. I mean, have you ever heard a heavy Glaswegian accent? It's almost like a different language.
Absolutely, yes. And even within countries, accents can vary dramatically. In the UK alone, you've got the posh RP accent, the melodic Welsh accent, the lyrical Irish accent, and the distinctive Geordie accent from Newcastle. And in the US, it's someone from Boston sounds nothing like someone from Louisiana or California.
So true. So, if native speakers can have such variety, why should non-native speakers feel pressured to sound a certain way? Your accent reflects your background, your culture, and your journey with the language. That's something to be proud of.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, accents are a natural part of language evolution. English itself has been shaped by centuries of influence from other languages, French, Latin, German, and even Hindi. For example, did you know the word shampoo comes from the Hindi word champo, which means to massage?
Wow, I didn't know that. That's such a cool example. And it just goes to show how interconnected languages and cultures are. Your accent is a living testament to that connection.
Exactly. And here's another thing. Accents can actually be an advantage. Think about it. Some of the most successful and influential people in the world have strong accents. Take Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example. His Austrian accent is iconic, and it didn't stop him from becoming a Hollywood superstar and even the governor of California.
Or Priyanka Chopra Jonas. She's a global icon, and her Indian accent is part of her charm. She's never tried to hide it, and it's helped her stand out in both Bollywood and Hollywood.
And let's not forget, Lupita Nyong'o. Her Kenyan-Mexican heritage shines through in her accent, and it adds to her powerful presence on screen. These people didn't try to fit into a mold. They embraced who they are, and the world loved them for it.
That's such a great point. And it's not just celebrities. Think about business leaders like Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, or Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. Both have strong Indian accents, and it hasn't stopped them from leading some of the biggest companies in the world.
Exactly. So, if these incredible individuals can embrace their accents and achieve so much, why should anyone feel ashamed of theirs?
And let's not forget, accents can also be a bridge between cultures. When you speak with an accent, you're showing that you've learned a new language, which is no small feat. It's a sign of effort, intelligence, and adaptability.
Absolutely. Learning a language is hard work, and your accent is proof that you've put in the effort. It's like a badge of honor that says, I've stepped out of my comfort zone to connect with the world.
Well said, Stella. So, to anyone listening who feels self-conscious about their accent, remember this. Your accent is not a flaw. It's a feature. It's a part of your story, your identity, and your journey.
And the world is richer because of it. So let's celebrate our accents and the diversity they bring to the English language.
Let's talk about the power of your accent and address the myth of perfect accent. Did you know that your accent can actually be an asset?
True, the idea that you need to sound like a native speaker to be good at English is outdated. What matters is clarity and confidence, not perfection. Imagine you're in a room full of people speaking English. Your unique accent will stand out in the best way possible.
That's so true. Think about it. When you meet someone with a distinct accent, don't you immediately associate it with their background or culture? It's like a personal signature. For example, Priyanka Chopra, the global superstar, has a noticeable Indian accent when she speaks English. But instead of hiding it, she owns it, and it's become a part of her brand. People remember her not just for her talent, but also for her authenticity.
Great example. And it's not just about standing out, it's about connection. When you embrace your accent, you're showing authenticity. People respect that. It's like saying, "This is me, and I'm proud of where I come from."
Exactly. Take Arnold Schwarzenegger, for instance. He's one of the most successful actors and politicians in the world, and his thick Austrian accent is iconic. He didn't try to change it to fit into Hollywood. Instead, he turned it into a strength. His accent is now part of his identity, and people love him for it.
And let's not forget about business and leadership. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, has an Indian accent, but it hasn't stopped him from leading one of the biggest tech companies in the world. In fact, his accent reflects his global perspective, which is a huge asset in today's interconnected world.
That's a fantastic point. Your accent can also be a bridge between cultures. For example, if you're working in an international team, your accent can spark curiosity and open up conversations about your background. It's an instant way to share a bit about your culture and experiences.
Absolutely. I remember meeting a colleague from Nigeria who had this beautiful melodic accent. It immediately made me curious about her culture, and we ended up having the most fascinating conversations about her hometown and traditions. It was such a bonding experience.
And here's another thing. Your accent can actually make you a better communicator. Studies have shown that people with non-native accents often speak more clearly and deliberately because they're conscious of being understood. That's a huge advantage in professional settings.
That's so true. Plus, your accent can be a source of pride and resilience. Think about Malala Yousafzai. Her Pakistani accent is a reminder of her incredible journey and the challenges she's overcome. It adds weight to her words and makes her message even more powerful.
And let's not forget the entertainment industry. Actors like Sofia Vergara and Penelope Cruz have built entire careers around their accents. They didn't try to hide them. They embraced them and turned them into a unique selling point.
Exactly. So if you've ever felt self-conscious about your accent, remember this. It's not a barrier, it's a bridge. It connects you to your roots, makes you memorable, and adds depth to your personality.
And here's a practical tip for our listeners. If you're worried about being misunderstood, focus on clarity rather than changing your accent. Speak slowly, enunciate, and don't be afraid to repeat yourself if needed. Most people will appreciate your effort to communicate effectively.
And remember, confidence is key. The more you own your accent, the more others will respect it. So stand tall, speak up, and let your accent shine.
This perfect accent doesn't exist.
Exactly. Think about it. Some of the most influential English speakers in the world have strong accents. Take former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon or Nobel Prize winner Malala Yousafzai. Their accents didn't hold them back. They added to their impact.
And let's not forget, even native speakers struggle with understanding each other sometimes. Have you ever heard a thick Scottish accent, Stella?
Definitely. It's all part of the rich tapestry of English. All right, let's get practical. How can our listeners start embracing their accents with pride?
First, own it. Stop apologizing for how you sound. Instead, focus on speaking clearly and confidently. Remember, your accent is part of your identity.
That's so important, Dave. Let's break this down. When you apologize for your accent, you're essentially saying, "I'm not good enough as I am." But the truth is, your accent is a reflection of your unique journey with the English language. It's a part of who you are.
Exactly. Think about it. When you meet someone with a distinct accent, do you judge them? Or do you find it interesting and maybe even charming?
Right. Most people are curious and fascinated by accents, not critical. So instead of feeling self conscious, try reframing your mindset. Your accent is a conversation starter, not a flaw.
And here's a real life example. I once worked with a colleague from Nigeria who had a strong accent. At first, she was hesitant to speak up in meetings, but once she started owning her accent and speaking confidently, everyone admired her for her clarity and insights.
That's such a great story. It just goes to show that confidence is key. When you believe in yourself, others will too. Secondly, surround yourself with positive influences. Follow people on social media who celebrate linguistic diversity. There are so many amazing creators out there who are proud of their accents.
Yes, social media can be a powerful tool for building confidence. For example, there's this amazing Instagram account called Accent Pride, where people from all over the world share videos of themselves speaking English in their unique accents. It's incredibly inspiring.
I love that. And there are also YouTube channels like ours that emphasize clarity over sounding native. They remind us that it's okay to have an accent as long as you're understood.
Another great example is the comedian Trevor Noah. He often talks about his South African accent and how it's become a part of his comedic identity. He even jokes about how Americans struggle to pronounce his name.
Yes, and his accent hasn't held him back. It's made him even more relatable and beloved by audiences worldwide.
And thirdly, practice active listening. The more you expose yourself to different accents, the more you'll realize there's no right way to speak English.
This is such an important tip. When you listen to people from different parts of the world speaking English, you start to appreciate the diversity of the language. For example, listen to interviews with actors like Idris Elba, British, Priyanka Chopra, Indian, or Lupita Nyong'o, Kenyan. They all have distinct accents, but they're all incredible communicators.
And let's not forget podcasts. There are so many great podcasts hosted by non-native English speakers. Listening to them can help you normalize different accents and realize that clarity and confidence matter more than sounding perfect.
Another fun way to practice active listening is by watching movies or TV shows from different English-speaking countries. For example, watch a British series like The Crown, an Australian show like Kath and Kim, or an Indian movie like Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. You'll hear a wide range of accents, and it'll help you feel more comfortable with your own. And one more thing, don't be afraid to laugh at yourself. If someone mishears you, it's okay. It happens to everyone, even native speakers.
So true. I remember once ordering a croissant at a cafe in France, and the waiter had no idea what I was saying. My French accent was so bad that he thought I was asking for a crayon.
That's hilarious. And you know what? It's moments like these that make language learning fun and memorable.
Exactly. When you can laugh at yourself, it takes the pressure off. And it also helps you connect with others. People appreciate humility and a good sense of humor.
Plus, it's a great way to break the ice. If someone mishears you, just smile and say, "Let me try that again." It's no big deal.
Here's another tip. Focus on clarity, not perfection. You don't need to sound like a native speaker to be understood. What matters is that your message gets across.
That's so true. A great example of this is the former CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella. He has a strong Indian accent, but he's one of the most respected leaders in the tech industry. His clarity and confidence in communication have made him a global icon.
And let's not forget Malala Yousafzai. Her Pakistani accent is unmistakable, but her powerful speeches have inspired millions around the world.
So instead of obsessing over sounding perfect, focus on speaking clearly. Practice enunciating your words and don't be afraid to ask for feedback. For example, you could say, "Did that make sense?" Or, "Let me know if I need to explain that differently."
And remember, even native speakers sometimes struggle with clarity. Have you ever heard someone mumble or speak too fast? It happens to everyone.
Finally, celebrate your progress. Learning a language is a journey, and every step forward is worth celebrating.
That's such an important reminder. Whether you've mastered a tricky pronunciation or had a successful conversation in English, take a moment to pat yourself on the back.
And don't compare yourself to others. Everyone's journey is different. What matters is that you're improving and gaining confidence.
So, to recap, own your accent, surround yourself with positivity, practice active listening, laugh at yourself, focus on clarity, and celebrate your progress. And most importantly, remember that your accent is a part of your story. It's something to be proud of, not something to hide. Before we wrap up, we'd love to hear from our listeners. Have you ever felt self-conscious about your accent? How did you overcome it?
Make sure to share your stories with us in the comment section. We'll feature some of your responses in our next episode.
All right, Stella, let's leave our listeners with one final thought.
Your accent is a badge of honor. It tells the world where you've been, where you're from, and how far you've come. So, wear it with pride.
Well said. And remember, language is about connection, not perfection. So keep speaking, keep learning, and most importantly, keep being you.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time, this is Stella.
And Dave signing off until next time.